The halfway point of the National Assembly's current term arrived earlier this month, ushering in new leadership at the Speaker podium and renewed clashes over who will chair key committees. At the same time, the confirmation process is getting underway in Parliament for the president's pick to serve as Prime Minister. And joining me now in the studio is our political correspondent, Moon Hye-ryun. Thank you so much for coming in today, Hye-ryun.
It's good to be here, Sujin.
Right, to start us off, what is the current status of the legislative leadership and how is that affecting the current atmosphere in the parliament?
So the second half of the 22nd National Assembly's term officially commenced on June 5th, with the election of six-term lawmaker Cho Jung-sik as the new speaker. And since taking office, Cho has wasted no time. In the 10 days since his election, he has held a series of high-level meetings with senior government figures, making clear that he intends to set a brisk legislative pace. Last week, he received the Presidential Chief of Staff Kang Hoon-sik and outgoing Prime Minister Kim Min-seok at the National Assembly. They agreed that the Assembly needed to act swiftly on a parliamentary inquiry into the ballot paper shortage that disrupted the June 3rd local elections, an incident that drew widespread concern about the integrity of the voting process. Then on Monday, he met with Finance Minister Koo Yoon-chol, pressing the government to put a windfall of tax revenues generated by a boom in the semiconductor industry to effective use, with particular attention to persistent youth unemployment. Across all of these meetings, the Speaker has consistently signaled his intent to move legislation quickly, saying he will do his utmost to build an assembly that delivers real and tangible results for the public. He also made constitutional reform a signature goal in his inaugural remarks.
I see. And new leadership means also the start of negotiations over who gets to chair which committee. So how are those talks going?
So with the new Speaker's leadership now in place, the ruling Democratic Party and the main opposition People Power Party are beginning talks on how to divide key committee chairmanships. And the biggest point of contention is the Legislation and Judiciary Committee, which acts as the final gateway for bills before they reach a full floor vote, making its chair one of the most powerful positions in the Assembly. Formal negotiations began in earnest this week, with the DP arguing that the ruling party must chair the committee to ensure that livelihood and reform legislation moves without obstruction. The PPP, for its part, points to a long-standing convention. The largest party takes the speakership and the second largest takes the Judiciary Committee chair as a check on the majority's power. The rhetoric has sharpened quickly.
The PPP's demand for the Judiciary Committee chair is nothing short of declaring a strike on the public's livelihood.
If the president's words about the need for inclusivity and openness for all are sincere, then the ruling party should first give up the Judiciary Committee chair.
Beyond the Judiciary Committee, negotiations over the chairs of committees covering financial regulation, trade and industry, and science and broadcasting are also expected to lead to friction.
Right, and there's also a Prime Minister confirmation coming up. So where does that stand now?
So earlier this month, President Lee nominated Han Sung-suk, who was the former Minister for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, to succeed outgoing Prime Minister Kim Min-seok. On Monday, the DP and the PPP agreed on the membership of the 13-member Special Confirmation Committee. The hearing is set to take place on June 25th and 26th, as under current law, the hearing must be concluded by June 30th, 20 days from the date the request was submitted. The issue expected to dominate the hearing is the nominee's property holdings, with the PPP to question whether that record is consistent with President Lee's stated preference for limiting the influence of multiple homeowners in housing policy. The DP, however, will focus on her policy experience and administrative qualifications, highlighting the fact that she already underwent extensive vetting when she previously served as the Minister of SMEs and Startups.
So it looks like there is still a lot to keep an eye on at the National Assembly. So thank you so much for the wrap-up today, Hye-ryun.
Thank you for having me.